And welcome back. When we talk about leaving something behind for the people we love, we often think of things like property, savings, or investments. But the reality is that many Canadians don't have a traditional inheritance to pass on, especially with the rising cost of living.
So what does legacy look like when you don't have wealth or assets set aside? To tell us more, we're joined by TMS Money expert Rubina Ahmed-Haq. All right, Rubina, how many people are in that situation where they don't have that traditional inheritance left?
So the average median, inheritance in Canada is just over $500,000. So that means half of inheritance are less than $500,000. And some of that money can be eaten up in funeral costs or other debts that the estate has to pay. Maybe you want to take time away from work, and so that money might be used for you to fund your lifestyle. So sometimes that inheritance might come to you and it might be split amongst many people, may not be as what you would want to leave as your financial legacy. So a lot of individuals look at life insurance as a way to leave that financial legacy, that guaranteed financial legacy that is tax-free and that's available quickly after a person passes away.
All right, let's talk about the options for a second. For somebody that doesn't have maybe a lot of savings or property, what options do they have when it comes to leaving something behind?
So if you want to have a guaranteed amount of money to leave behind, getting life insurance is going to do that. So you can find out what your premiums are going to be, see if you can afford those month to month, and then you'll know up to, in some cases, $250,000 you could leave behind to your loved ones. That could be used to pay for all those things that we just talked about. And that is money that is going to not be taxed. It's going to be available very quickly. And it's also going to be something that you can rely on. It's not something that later might be caught up for years, where there may be disputes as to who gets what. There may be estate taxes that have to be paid, or debts that have to be paid with the person who passed away that left behind. And so this is that guarantee that you've got that money that is going to the beneficiaries that you want them to get.
And how does that money and that payout help a family in real life?
So it helps with so many things. When a person passes away, especially someone you are close to, there's obviously a moment, many moments of grief. So it could be months or even maybe a year before you're ready to go back to work, ready to get back into the real world. And so if you're taking time away, you need money to fund your lifestyle. It also means that you can make sure that your funeral costs, if you're the one leaving that financial legacy, will be covered by that money, which will be available to your beneficiary. And if there are any debts that you've left behind, you can also make sure that those debts are taken care of and that they're not a burden on your loved ones, that money is not left for them to figure out. It's more money that you've taken care of, and that they can spend that time grieving, not worrying about how they're going to pay for these finances.
All right, up next, everybody's favorite topic, taxes. Let's talk tax considerations.
Yeah, so life insurance is one of those products where they are not taxed. The money is given to the beneficiary tax-free. And so, for example, if you have a life insurance policy with a company like Senior's Choice, you can get up to $250,000 if you're paying the premiums according to that amount. And when the person gets that money, it's $250,000 in their pocket that they can use for whatever it is that they need to use it for. And this can help them just at the time when you're most stressed, you're not at least financially stressed and not worried about the tax man coming for their bill.
Okay. All right. Now let's talk about how easy or difficult is it to get life insurance when you're older?
So it is not hard to get life insurance when you're older. You just have to think about the premiums are going to be slightly higher than what you got when you were in your 20s. But it's not impossible. There are companies, you can go to Trustpilot and look at companies that really cater to those who are 40 plus. So for example, Senior's Choice, 40 to 80 years old is their specialty. They look at people who did not get life insurance products when they were younger, are now looking for solutions to leave behind a financial legacy. If they get ill, to have some money that they could also access so that they're not a financial burden on anyone. So it's never too late. It's just you need to figure out what the premiums are and if they are affordable to you and your budget.
All right, an important conversation and some great advice. Rubina, good to see you as always, and thanks for coming by.
Thanks for having me.
This portion of the morning show is brought to you by Senior's Choice. To learn more, call 1-844-997-1011.